Hello, dear students in grade 9. I'm glad to be here again with you to continue working on Unit 2. Let me again introduce myself. I'm Randa Khadr. I'm an English teacher at المتفوقين الأولى School. As we said, today we'll continue working with Unit 2 and we'll deal with workbook. Let's get started. So, in the workbook, we have a text. This text is again about the same idea, which is initiatives or voluntary activities. The title of the text is Pay It Forward. When you pay something forward, it means to pay in advance. What does that mean? To get a service, or let's say to pay for a service, before receiving it. Let's read the text. Pay it forward. On March 27, 2013, John Sweeney, a plumber from Ireland, started a Facebook page called Suspended Coffees. Now let's stop here. A plumber. First of all, the B here is a silent letter, so it's plumber. A plumber is a person whose job is to fix, mend some taps, some water pipes, etc. So he is a plumber from Ireland, okay, a country in Europe, started a Facebook page, and he called this Facebook page, he gave it a name which is Suspended Coffees. Now, when you suspend something, you make it stop for a while. We'll see what does that mean in case, or let's say in this context. Now, his message, for sure refers to John here, his message was simple. It was not something complicated, so simple. Buy a cup of coffee for a stranger because an act of kindness can change a life and make a difference. So, buy a cup of coffee for a stranger. A stranger is a person whom you don't know, an unknown person to you. It doesn't have to be your friend or any member of your family. So you can buy this cup of coffee for a stranger because an act of kindness can change life and make a difference. Even if you feel that your act is so simple and it doesn't have a big effect, it can change others' lives. Now, after starting this Facebook page, 8 hours later, the page had attracted more than 20,000 likes. So as you can see, the page was really successful and it could attract the attention of many people. Now, suspended coffee is a tradition that comes from Naples, Italy, which is a seaport in Italy, Naples. So, as you can see, it is a tradition that comes from Naples, Italy, and dates back to the 20th century. So it is not something recent. It hasn't appeared lately. It is already found before. Now, when customers buy coffee, they also pay in advance for a cup to be given to somebody else. Now, who is a customer? A customer is a person who buys services. They can be products or even services, for example, on the phone. These are the customers. So when customers buy coffee, they also pay in advance. As I said, they pay for something before receiving it, for a cup of coffee to be given to somebody else. So the cup of coffee is given to somebody else. Usually someone who otherwise couldn't afford it. Usually this person who can receive this service, a person who otherwise in a different case, without let's say having this, let's say the paid in advance cup of coffee, he wouldn't be able to afford it. Now, afford to have enough money to pay for something. It here refers to what? To the cup of coffee, okay? Now, this initiative was forgotten. As we said, an initiative is what? Is a new plan, okay, for dealing with a particular problem. This initiative was forgotten. It was stopped, let's say, for a while. Then it revived again. It was, let's say it was, for example, they brought it back to life again in 2011. That's when Suspended Coffee Day started to be celebrated each December. So each year they have, let's say, a day to celebrate as a, let's say, short or let's say simple celebration of this initiative in December of each year. You can buy it for anyone in need. You can buy this cup of coffee for anyone in need, anyone who needs help. So it can be for the homeless person you pass by every day on the street. A homeless person is a person who doesn't have a home to live in. And you usually, for example, pass by every day when you walk to work or school. This person can be a stressed student in the middle of exams. A student feeling worried, feeling, let's say, stressed, anxious because of his exams. Or it may be, this person may be a well-dressed man whom you may not think from his appearance that he is in need, but he may be in his 3rd month of job hunting. So I repeat, it may be a well-dressed man, a man wearing nice clothes, let's say, elegantly, but this person, let's say, can be looking for a job, trying hard to get a job. So we can't judge from his appearance that he doesn't need help. So he can be what? In his 3rd month of job hunting. Job hunting is what? Looking for a job opportunity. It's not up to us to judge. It's not our decision. We can't decide. We are not the people who can decide whether you need help or not. To judge, it means to give an opinion about somebody or something. If someone asks for any help, like a cup of coffee here in our text or example, then they're in need. So they are in need and they really need help. We can't, let's say, ask them whether it's true or not. So no CV required. No CV is needed to prove that they are actually in need. Okay? That's the text. Now we have some questions about it. Before the questions, we have the keywords. Pay forward. As I said, when you pay forward, let's say you pay in advance. Plumber. A person whose job is to repair water pipes, toilets, etc. Suspended, stopped for a while. Afford, to have enough money to pay for something. Revive, to bring something back after it has not been used or existed for a period of time. Job hunting, the act of looking for work. These are the keywords. Now we'll move to the questions. Answer the following questions. Number 1, explain the idea of suspended coffee. Explain it. Tell us what is, let's say, about, what it is about. The answer is, when customers buy coffee, they also pay in advance for a cup to be given to somebody who cannot afford it. That's the idea, the main point of suspended coffee. Number 2, where did this idea start? It first started in Italy, and specifically in Naples, which is a seaport in Italy. So it started in Naples, Italy. 3, when did it revive again? Because as we said, it was forgotten for some time, okay? It was, let's say, it stopped for some time. When did it revive again? It revived again in 2011, in the 21st century, but it started in the 20th century, okay? These are the questions. We have more questions about the text, true or false questions. Now, decide if the following sentences are true or false F. 1, many people liked John's initiative. Actually, if you remember, we said that the page succeeded in attracting more than 20,000 likes in just 8 hours. So the answer here is true. The page of the initiative could attract more than 20,000 likes in 8 hours. Number 2, Suspended Coffee Day is celebrated in January. Again, depending on the text, it is mentioned clearly that it is celebrated each December, so it's false. 3, the person who needs suspended coffee must prove that he is poor. To prove something, to show that it is true. Well, depending on the text, it's not up to us. It's not up to us to judge, or there is no CV required. So the answer is false. No CV is required. It's not up to us to judge. I repeat, 1, true, 2, false, and 3, false. Now we have a vocabulary exercise about the text. Here we have, find the opposites of the following words in the text. The answers are already here. Anyway, let's read them. Here is the word in this column, and here are the opposites. The word, first of all, we have finish and stop. we have to find a word from the text which means the opposite, which is start. Complicated or complex. When something is complicated or complex, it's not easy to understand. It's not clear. So the opposite of complicated, simple. Similarity. A similarity is the noun from similar. We need the opposite of similarity, which is difference. Again, difference is a noun from different. So this is the opposite. Remember, the opposite is forget. Relaxed, unstressed. The opposite is stressed. So finish and stop. Start, the opposite. Complicated, the opposite is simple. Similarity, the opposite is difference. Remember, the opposite is forget. Relaxed, unstressed, the opposite is stressed. Now, let's move to grammar. Today, we'll talk about the present perfect tense. We're going to have a revision because you've already studied this in the previous years. The present perfect tense. Dear students, whenever you want to learn or let's say to master a certain tense, you need to know two main things. Its form, how we can form it, and then its uses. Let's start with the form. To form a tense or a verb in the present perfect, we need. Now, first of all, we have three, let's say, cases or three forms. The affirmative one, the negative, and the question. In the affirmative, we need the subject, then have or has, plus the past participle. And it's, let's say, worth mentioning that have and has here are auxiliary verbs, okay? And then we have the past participle, which we usually call verb 3. An example, I have tried sushi. I is the subject. I, let's say we need to have for I, and then tried, which is the past participle of try. Sushi is a national Japanese dish. The negative form. As I said, since have and has here are auxiliaries, so we can add not to them to make the negative form. Negative, subject plus have not, haven't, this is what the short form. Has not or hasn't plus the past participle. So let's have an example here. I have not tried sushi, or I haven't tried sushi. This is the example in the negative form. The question. In the question, we know that, my dear student, that we need to place the auxiliary verb before the subject. We have to make like something which we call inversion. So here, as you can see, this is the auxiliary verb, so I have to place it before the subject. So I have, has, plus subject, plus the past participle. Example, have you tried sushi? It is a question in this case. Now we have, let's say, talked about the form of the present perfect. What about the use? Now, uses. There are many uses for the present perfect. First of all, you have to put in mind that the present perfect talks about things that happened in the past, but there is a link between the past and the present. There's always this link or connection between the past and the present. In what way? Let's see. Now, the first one, to talk about actions that happened at an indefinite time in the past, a time that is not mentioned, a time that is not known. So clearly, we don't say the time when the action happened. Example. She has already seen this film, okay? Now, the action actually happened in the past and she saw the film in the past. But have I mentioned when? When did this happen? No. We have already. Already is one of the words that is usually used with the present perfect. It means at an earlier time, before now, okay? So I repeat, she has already seen this film. And as you can see, already comes after the auxiliary verb before the main verb. Now, another example, they have won several awards, several prizes, many prizes. Again, we don't mention the time of the action. Now, it's worth mentioning also here, dear students, that if you want to say when the action happened at a specific, or you want to mention the specific time, you have to use, or you switch to what? To the past simple. For example, she saw the film yesterday. But now let's focus on the present perfect. Now, the other use. With since and for, we usually use the present perfect with since and for, but for a specific meaning. To talk about actions or even states that began in the past and continue up to now. How? What does that mean? Let's have an example. I have been in this city since last year. Another one, Mr. Smith has been a teacher for 9 years. Let's focus on the first one now. I have been in this city. طبعا been is what? The third form of be. In this city since last year. It means that I started living in this year last year and I still live here. Okay, so the action started in the past or began in the past and continues up to the present. So I have been in this city since last year. Another example, Mr. Smith has been a teacher for 9 years. So he started teaching, or he started his job as a teacher 9 years ago, and he is still doing the same job. He is still a teacher now. Now, let's talk about something, since and for. We usually use since before specific points in past time. For is used before what? Before length of time. For example, since last year, since 1996, since 2001, since lunchtime, since 4 o'clock, so specific points in past time. While for is used before a length of time, 9 years, 10 minutes, an hour, a year, a long time, okay? Now, we have, let's say what, to mention that. Here, let's say in this case, or let's say this use, it tells us how long an action has lasted, okay? How long has it lasted for? Now, we'll continue with the uses. We also use the present perfect to talk about an action finished in the past, but the resulting state is still present. I can see the present now. As I said, there is this link to the present. So something happened in the past with a present result. For example, okay, I have lost my pen. This is the action that happened in the past, but the effect of this action is still seen in the present. Where's the result? I am unable to do my exercise. Now I am unable to do it. So the pen is still lost. Now, another example. He has repaired the bike. He can ride it now. The action that happened in the past is repairing the bike. The effect is still here. Now he can ride it. He can is in the present. Now, we can also use the present perfect with the word yet. With yet, in this case, we are talking about events that have not happened before now, and also events that are expected to happen soon. Yet has the meaning of up to now, until now. Okay, you expect something to happen soon. Yet is used in negative sentences and questions. Let's have examples. They haven't discovered a cure for the common cold yet. And as you can see, we usually place yet at the end of the sentence. This is an example of a negative sentence. Another example, have they finished repairing for the party yet? Now yet with a question again at the end of the question. So I'm expecting something to happen soon. Now, let's have some exercises to just understand and apply the use of the present perfect. Now, select the correct answer to complete each sentence using the present perfect tense. Okay, so all these sentences, in all these sentences, we're going to use the present perfect tense. 1, she's very experienced now. So as you can see here, we have a present result. She is experienced. She has this experience. Why? Because of an action that has happened before. She has or she hasn't been a volunteer for 2 years. In fact, the answer is she has been a volunteer. That's why she is experienced now. And for 2 years, as I said, we use for before a length of time. Number 2, good news. Focus on this. Good news, let's say what will help us choose the correct answer. Good news, so something positive. They have raised or they haven't raised enough money. To raise money for something, it means to collect money, usually for helping others, for charity work. So the good news, they have raised or they haven't raised enough money for the charity this year. A charity is an organization that offers help to people in need. So because we have good news, the answer is they have raised. I'm happy because they have raised enough money for the charity. Number 3, we haven't or we have held a lot of young people since we graduated from university. Here, let's say what, a group of volunteers talking about their job, for sure that they have done a lot of work, so it's we have held, as you can see, have and verb 3, a lot of young people since we graduated. Since, let's say what, here is followed by past simple because it refers to a specific point in the past time. Number 4, he's hungry. The result is in the present. However, he hasn't eaten or eat for 4 days. So the answer here, or the question here, is not about, let's say, using the present perfect itself. It's about the form of it, okay? So he hasn't. Since we have has here, it must be followed by the past participle or the third form of the verb. So which is, the answer is eaten here, okay? As again, for 4 years, we have, let's say, 4 before a length of time. Number 5, she misses the bus. She haven't or she hasn't got up early. Here we have, let's say what, to look at the subject. We have she as a subject pronoun, so it goes with hasn't. Okay, so 1, has, 2, have raised, 3, have, 4, eaten, and 5, hasn't. More exercises about this. Match column A with B to make full sentences in the present perfect tense. Let's read them first. 1, have you done your homework? 2, she has just arrived. 3, we have known her for. 4, he has worked here. And 5, I haven't been. In column B we have A, she will speak to you in a minute, within a minute. B, for 2 months. C, to Paris before now. D, yes I have, it's a short answer. And E, since she arrived in our city. Let's start answering. 1, have you done your homework? We match it with D, yes I have. 2, she has just arrived. We match it with A, she will speak to you in a minute. So she's here now, so she can talk to you. 3, we have known her. The answer is E, since she arrived in our city. So we knew her, let's say, at a specific time in the past, and we still know her. 4, he has worked here. B, for 2 months. Again, using the present perfect with 4. 5, I haven't been to Paris before. It means I haven't visited Paris before now. I haven't traveled there. Let me repeat the answers. 1, with D. 2, A. 3, E. 4, B. And 5, C. Now, here we have verbs in brackets, as you can see here. Okay, we have to put these verbs in the present perfect tense. Okay, let's remember what is the form. It's have and has plus the past participle. So put the verbs within brackets in the correct form using the present perfect tense. 1, I am not hungry. I already eat. We have the subject I, so we choose have. And eat in the third form is eaten, so I have already eaten. This is the answer. 2, we not plan for our holiday yet. As you can see, we have yet, so the sentence is negative here. We have to put it in the present perfect. We goes with have, and plan is a regular verb, so it's planned. Haven't planned with double N. Number 3, you read any interesting books? It's a question. Since it's a question, we have to start with the auxiliary verb, which is, in our case here, have, because we have you. Then we need the third form of the past participle of read, which is read. The same spelling, but with a different meaning, pronunciation. Now, 4, she not feed the cat yet. Feed is a verb that say the forms are feed, fed, fed. Again, it's a negative sentence, and yet at the end. She goes with has, and it's negative, so she hasn't fed the cat yet. 4, hasn't fed. The last one, 5, it's a question. We have yet at the end. Again, it's a question. Now we have to start with the auxiliary verb. Amer this is the pronoun for Amir is he, so we go for has. Has Amir, and we need the past participle of buy, which is bought. So 1, have eaten, have already eaten. 2, haven't planned. 3, have you read. 4, hasn't fed. 5, has Amir bought. Now, change the following statements into questions using present simple, present progressive, or even present perfect. So we have certain statements, we need to change them into questions. We need to put a suitable question for each answer. Let's start with the first one. She is working on a new project. The tense here is present progressive. Now, I want to make a question. I can ask about the new project, or I can ask about the whole activity that she's doing. So we have two answers here. What is she working on, or what is she doing? Number 2, he has returned from Europe. The tense here is present perfect, has plus verb 3. I want to ask about the word Europe. So the question is, I'm asking about the place, so it's where. Where has he returned from? 3, Maya has taught English since 2019. So here we have present perfect, teach, taught, taught. And we have since. As I said, when I use the present perfect with since or for, I'm talking about how long an action has lasted. So the correct question word here is how long. And we have an auxiliary verb here, so how long has Maya taught English? Now, number 4, Susan enjoys reading. Okay, I can ask about the activity she enjoys, or I can ask about the subject, the person who enjoys this. So I have two answers here. What does Susan enjoy? And again, this is what? Present simple. So we need an auxiliary verb does, and for sure remove the S. So what does Susan enjoy, or who enjoys reading? In this case, I'm asking about the subject. I have just replaced Susan with the question word who enjoys reading. The last one, this car belongs to Martin. It is Martin's car. When I say this car belongs to Martin, it means that this is Martin's car with possessive S and apostrophe. The question is, we have also two choices or two answers. Who does this car belong to? It belongs to Martin. Or whose car is this? It is Martin's car, or it is Martin's. So 1, what is she working on? Or what is she doing? 2, where has he returned from? 3, how long has Maya taught English? 4, what does she enjoy, or who enjoys reading? And finally, who does this car belong to, or whose car is this? Now, we'll end with a section called Focus On. Here, Focus On will focus on math skills, social studies. So let's say we'll talk about how to tell the locations of certain buildings. Now, as you can see here, we have 4 main directions. We have the north, the south, the west, and the east. We have other, directions. Here we have northeast, here we have northeast, here we have west, south, southwest, and here we have southeast. Now, let's just remember something. For example, Tartus is in the west of Syria, okay? Deir Zor is in the east of Syria. Aleppo is in the north of Syria, while Damascus is in the south of Syria. Now, we're gonna, talk about the location according to another building, or another location. For example, we say that Tartus is to the south of Latakia. Tartus is to the south of Latakia, so Latakia is to the north of Tartus. We're gonna work this way here. We have some buildings here around a town. Reading a map, places around town. I'd like to ask you to bring your book so you can follow with me and you know the buildings I'm pointing to. Airport, hospital, a restaurant, a park, a pet shop, a hotel, a library, a flower shop, a supermarket, and finally we have a school, bakery, and a police station. Now, we have to tell the locations of each building. Let's see here. So it would be better if you get your book. Now, the pet shop is of the park. We have to what? To tell the location of the pet shop according to the park. So it's what? It's to the south of the park, okay? 2, the flower shop and the library. The answer is to the east. So the flower shop is to the east of the library. In number 3, we have the school and the police station. Depending on the map in your book, the school is to the north of the police station. Number 4, the hospital and again the police station. The hospital is to the northwest of the police station. Now, the bakery and the police station again. The bakery is to the west of the police station. 6, the library is of the supermarket. The library is to the north of the supermarket. 7, the hospital is to the west of the restaurant. And finally, 8, the police station is to the south of the school. So 1, to the south, 2, to the east, 3, to the north, 4, to the northwest, 5, to the west, 6, to the north, 7, to the west, and 8, to the south. And that's all for today. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you found this lesson useful for you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the upcoming sessions. Thanks again to Mrs. Ula Al-Mou'i, the English Language Coordinator in Tartus, and to the whole staff working here at Tartus Educational Platform, Ms. Lilian Ali and Ms. Hala Sulaiman. Thank you all. Bye-bye.